Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Being Beautifully Honest podcast and channel. Thanks so much for being here, for being subscribed. If you're not, go ahead and hit that button. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, hit that like button. It's like walking into the room and hitting that light switch. We just want to go ahead and brighten up the place. So let's get into this conversation. Yesterday, I did a conversation where I was talking about Billy Porter and the issues that he's going through. And we know that he's in the Hollywood scene. We know what's going on right now, that the actors and writers are on strike. And right now, it just doesn't look like it's going to be ending anytime soon. So people are dealing with a lot of stuff. And when you get accustomed to living this luxury lifestyle, which is what I was talking about yesterday, like Billy Porter said, he was living check to check, and he is having to sell his home because he's going through some stuff right now also with his marriage and possibly having to pay spousal support to his husband. Well, we have talked about Tyrese before, and we know that Tyrese is pissed at the family courts in Georgia because they have said, yeah, you're going to have to ante up that money to your ex-wife for child support that he feels that she does not deserve. But listen, people are trying things these days. And according to this story, Tyrese Gibson has filed a $1 million lawsuit against Home Depot for racial profiling and discrimination. All right, let's just get into this story. So Tyrese and two of his associates are suing the Home Depot for $1 million for racially profiling them. In a court filing obtained by The Messenger, the Fast and Furious actor said he and his associates were racially profiled by an employee at the West Hills, California location in February. Gibson, one of the most recognizable Black actors and musicians in the United States. Okay, listen, this is what is being quoted, okay? So I'm not saying this because that's questionable at best. But anyway, and his associates, craftsmen Eric Mora and Manuel Hernandez, experienced outrageous discriminatory mistreatment and consumer racial profiling firsthand inside the Home Depot retail store in West Hills, California. On February 11th, 2023, the lawsuit reads. Now we can guess, and this is not being discriminatory here on my end, but we can guess that he hired a couple of people who are of Mexican descent to do some work for him based on the story and based on the names, okay? So the story continues. While plaintiffs attempted to make an in-store purchase, store clerks purposely interfered with and refused to process the transaction based on their groundless suspicion of Gibson, Mora, and Hernandez arising from their skin color. Sorry. Anyway, and in the case of Mora and Hernandez, their national origin as well. According to the lawsuit, Tyrese was recognized by fans in the store. He decided to wait out in the car, and he asked Mora and Hernandez to complete the transaction with his credit card. Gibson asked the cashier if the cashier needed anything further from him to complete the transaction. The cashier said no, and that Gibson could leave. The lawsuit continues. However, when Mora and Hernandez presented Gibson's credit card to pay for the materials, the cashier refused to complete the purchase transaction. After giving his permission again via FaceTime for his friends to use his credit card, the cashier again refused to complete the transaction. The cashier gave no reasonable explanation other than repeating store policy and demanded to see a form of identification, the lawsuit states. The manager refused to speak with Gibson in person. It was only after significant heated discussion with the cashier that Gibson was finally able to complete the transaction. Tyrese is seeking $1 million in compensation because that's how much money he's spent in Home Depot stores in his lifetime. I'm sorry, excuse my language, but nigga, get out of here with this bullcrap. Listen, I am all for people standing up for their rights and not being treated unfairly, right? But this is definitely a money grab that I don't see going anywhere. And I feel like he filed the lawsuit thinking that Home Depot is, because they're such a huge organization, they're not going to want to go to court and they're just going to settle. And of all people, he should know, being a celebrity, how annoying it is when someone just files a lawsuit against you, because I like to say we live in the USA. I've said that for many, 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 many years now. I was a legal assistant for 12 years, many years ago. It's been a while, but you can sue almost anyone, almost any organization for anything at any time. But it does not mean that that lawsuit is going to see the light of day in a courthouse. And most times people will file a lawsuit against companies or people that they deem higher than them because they feel that they will get a settlement out of court and they'll get something rather than nothing, or they know that it costs more to litigate. So it would be in that company or person that has the money's best interest to settle out of court. And because of how much he is so annoyed by the situation that's going on with him and his ex-wife and this child support situation and how he's trying to get that lowered, instead of just paying the money, I just feel this is a money grab so that he can get that cash, not have to spend his own money to pay that back child support that he should have just been paying in the first place. Whether you thought it was fair or not, the penalties in that situation, a lot of it was because he refused to abide by the court's order. He could have just been paying it in the meantime, appealed it to request a lowered amount based on if his money isn't coming in the way that it used to or whatever, and then have it handled that way. So I just feel that this is a money grab. They say that this situation happened back in February of this year, but I don't care if he was in the store and he claims that the cashier was asked of him, do you need anything else from me before I go back in the car? Because all of these people in here are swarming me. So he claims, and I don't want all this attention on me. So I'm just going to go to my car and I'm going to let my two Mexican workers handle it for me. I mean, like, this is what it sounds like. It just sounds absolutely ridiculous. And the cashier may not have even known what he meant by that when he said, do you need anything else from me? Because she may not have known that the payment wasn't going to be coming from them, because when they presented the credit card, she asked for identification. That is not uncommon. Unless you're sticking that card in the card reader on your own, because the story says that they presented the card to the cashier. So it is sometimes the cashier's right, based on store policy, to ask if you have identification, especially if it's over a certain amount. You know, there have been times where someone may be going to the store and they're using someone else's card to get something that only costs a few bucks. I mean, I'm not saying that it's okay if the cashier isn't sure if that is that person's card to not ask for identification because they're only buying a bag of Doritos. But I'm saying, I'm quite sure that that was a large purchase. So yeah, the cashier was going to say, okay, do you have identification? Especially if these people look like someone whose last name is Mora and Hernandez, and they present a credit card that says Tyrese Gibson. I mean, let's just be real here. So the fact that he's suing Home Depot for $1 million because he says that's the equivalent of how much money he's spent there over the years, man, get up out of here. I don't see this lawsuit going anywhere, because I don't care how many people were swarming him. If he was already at the cashier's stand to purchase, and he said he asked the cashier, do you need anything else from me? And she said no. She probably was like, well, what are you asking me that for? I don't know. Like, I guess not. If he was already right there, how much more time would it have taken for him to just stay there, make the purchase, and then say, okay, guys, I'm going to meet you in the car? Like, that was just ridiculous. Or you pay, because I've done this before with Home Depot as well as Lowe's. You purchase the items and you pay and you do store pickup. How hard was that? The items could have been ordered. He paid for them online, and then they go in and they pick up the items, and or not even go in. You park in the spot. You call the number. They ask you what number of parking space you are in, and they come out, and they will ask you for identification, because I've done that before too. So this is absolutely ridiculous. I just see this as a money grab. Hollywood must really be going through it right now. And that's just really crazy. Most people just assume that a lot of these actors and singers are doing well. And a lot of them really are struggling. There was that viral clip that went around many months ago of Fantasia. And she was saying that it was during the time of COVID, I believe, or maybe a little while after. But she was saying a lot of people out here, they're struggling. They don't have it like that. And she wasn't lying, because this is absolutely a money grab. And I just thought it was just kind of comical, because to file a $1 million lawsuit because you feel that you and your two Mexican workers were racially profiled and discriminated against because the cashier asked for identification when it was time to pay, and they both looked like Mora and Hernandez, and they presented a credit card to the cashier that said Tyrese Gibson. How many Mexican people do you know named Tyrese Gibson or Tyrone? Or, I mean, come on. And this is not being discriminatory. It's being honest, period. So it's just a money grab. I wanted to talk about that because I just thought it was really comical. This guy, it just seems like he's always in the blogs for something, for the most part, ridiculous or of his own making and of his own doing. He expects Home Depot to pay him $1 million because that's the equivalent of what he spent at Home Depot over the years in his lifetime. He wants black men to do a prayer march so he can get his child support lowered, and says that the judge is racist and all these other things like that. Everything is about him. Man, go to Lowe's, go someplace else. He should not have even given that company his money if he felt like they were racially profiling him. So that alone is a stupid thing. Because he still got the stuff. He still gave them his money. So it must not have been that bad. So this is just a stupid situation all around. I just wanted to talk about it because I thought it was really funny, and I would love to know what you guys think about it. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you so much for being here, for liking and subscribing. I'm Beth, just being beautifully honest. So until the next time, I wanted to keep it brief, beautiful, and now I'm going to say bye.